So, physiology of analyzers. Analyzers were proposed by Ivan Petrovich Pavlov, and they are the structures of central and peripheral nervous system to acquire information, to acquire stimulations from internal and external environment, and to analyze them. Each analyzer consists of three parts. First, receptors, then conducting pathways, and three central or cortical part of an analyzer. So for example, we have here a visual analyzer, we have rods and cones, receptors, conducting pathways, and special cortical area that is responsible for analysis of visual stimulation. We have also the notion sensory system that consists of four elements. The fourth element is called efferent part of analyzer that is needed to change the sensitivity of receptors, to change their threshold and to adapt the receptors for specificity of stimulation. We have also such thing as sensory organ that is the combination of receptors with additional structures that make the activity of receptors more efficient. For example, an eye is consists of rods and cones in retina, but also there is cornea, there is lens, special muscles that control the accommodation, and all these elements make the sensation more efficient. Okay, we have also the receptive field. Receptive field is a combination of receptors that are combined with one conducting cell. For example, we have receptive fields on the skin, and it doesn't matter how many stimulations we produce upon the surface of this receptive field, the sensation will be as of one stimulation. So receptive fields may be different, may have different size on the spine and on the hand. For example, on the spine they are larger than on the hand. Okay, so receptors. Receptors may be extra receptors and interoreceptors, depending on the source of the stimulation, external or internal environment, so they may be different. Analyzers are divided into visual analyzer, acoustic analyzer, taste, olfactory, vestibular, proprioceptive analyzer. Conducting pathways. Now we will characterize the second part of analyzer. They are produced by nerve fibers that conduct impulses to the cortex, and in all analyzers except olfactory analyzer, they pass through thalamus. Thalamus is produced by approximately 40 nuclei in the diencephalon, and from the thalamus, in thalamus we have the synaptic contacts between different nerve fibers, and from thalamus the impulses reach the cortical part of an analyzer, the specific areas of the cortex. For example, Visual analyzer is represented by occipital cortex, acoustic analyzer by temporal cortex, somatosensory analyzer is represented in the post-central gyrus in the frontal cortex, and this representation is illustrated in on the next picture. Here we have at the left part the sensory cortex, post-central gyrus, and on the right part, right half, motor cortex, pre-central gyrus. So let's see on the left part. We can see that here we have different parts of the body represented on the corresponding parts of the cortex, and you may see that for example the face, Gesicht, this German picture, is larger than, for example, leg. So and the hand is more than, for example, the spine. So here we have the neurons that makes the sensation from corresponding parts of the body. Properties of analyzers. So, for example, first is the specificity. For example, a visual analyzer, it analyzes light, color, not sounds. But if somebody will get a heart stroke in an eye, he may see the light. So may see the sparks. So this property describes the stimulations in the with the normal intensity, of course. Second property of analyzer is the threshold. This is the minimal strength of the stimulation that produces the sensation. For example, for the light, the threshold is very low. A person can see several photons of light. Very sensitive analyzer. 3. Summation. Summation is when the stimulation is produced with the high frequency stimulation. Then the analyzer may produce the sensation of continuous action. For example, cinema, the frames change frequently, and person interpret this cinema as a continuous motion picture. 4. Adaptation. When the stimulation producing the long-lasting effect, then the sensitivity decreases. For example, we have receptors which adapt quickly. For example, receptors of touch receptors, they adapt quickly. If person wears glasses or a ring, he after the short period of time loses the sensation from these objects. And we have the receptors of pain, for example, of the chronic pain that do not adapt. So this property changes in different analyzers. And functional mobility. This functional mobility, in accordance with this property, the quantity and sensitivity of different receptors in the receptive field changes in accordance with specificity of stimulation. And for that sake, we have the fourth efferent link, efferent part of a sensory system.